When I actually knew what it meant to actually be a product of my environment, that is when everything changed. And when I say environment, I don't just mean the people that I hang around or the people that are in my life. I also mean just how I carry my environment, like the place that I'm in. And so in this day 2 of the boot camp, I really want to break down how important it is to make sure that your environment sets you up for success, not just the people that you hang around, but also the place that you are in. Because I promise you, once you set your environment up for success, you are much more likely to actually start being more disciplined. And there's even a study on it. If you have a good environment around you, you're more likely to be disciplined. You're more likely to be consistent. And that's why the first step that I'm going to be going over is making sure that the environment that you're in, the place that you are in, is setting you up for success. And the first way to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success is asking yourself, where am I struggling with self-control the most? And then ask yourself, where am I when I'm struggling with this part of self-control? The reason why those two questions are important, because now if you know that you're struggling with anger every single time you're at your job, well, then you can set certain boundaries so that you don't get angry. Maybe you need to stop talking to specific people. Maybe you need to get another job and start praying for another job. Say you're struggling with lust inside of your room every single night. Well, if your room is just meant for chilling and you're never being productive inside of your room, and your room is not set up for you to be productive, then of course it's going to be easier for you to fall into temptation. It's going to be so much harder for you to fall into temptation when there's a Bible right next to you. When every single time you're in your room, you're working on something and being productive and being disciplined and actually building yourself into a better person, it's going to be much harder to fall into lust. And especially if you don't even use your phone inside of your room, because you know that that's going to cause you to sin. And that's why when I started creating videos in my room, when I started actually reading my Bible in my room, getting closer to God, and I stopped using my room to just scroll on my phone. I stopped playing the game for hours and hours and hours in my room. And when I got back from school or when I got back from work, I didn't just, sit back and chill. I actually read my word. When I started changing these little things, that's when the environment that I put myself in set me up for success. And so if you want a good environment, make sure that number one is clean, because it's scientifically proven that when you actually have a clean room, it's easier to make decisions. You get less decision fatigue and your mind is less cluttered. Number two, make sure you remove any temptation. So if it's something like your phone, something as little as your phone, that's causing you to fall into temptation, put your phone in another room. If it's causing you to sin at night, just read the word instead. 3, make sure you're being productive in the place where you usually fall. So if you struggle at night, make sure you're actually being productive during that time. Make sure you're reading the word in your bed so that you feel way more convicted if you do fall. And make the environment easier to be productive by putting a Bible right next to where you sleep. Make sure that you're making your room look nice so that it's easier to be productive. And if you need to, make sure you sleep with the door open so it can be less private, because you're more likely to fall into temptation when you feel like you're private, even though you're never private, because God is always watching. This can go the same with someone who is struggling with their eating habits, having self-control over the things that they eat. If you have a whole bunch of food that tempts you to eat bad inside of your house and makes it more convenient for you to eat bad foods, then you're setting yourself up for failure. So yes, make sure that you're consistently setting your environment up for success, because if you don't, you'll continue to go back in the same cycle over and over and over. And the second thing I want to touch on is the people around you, the environment that you put yourself in. This is biblical. The word says bad company corrupts good character. But this, I know a lot of people like to justify certain people, certain friends around them, and they think it's not affecting them that bad. It's like they're not causing them to get in sin, or they're not peer pressuring you. They're not peer pressuring you into giving in the sin. And because they may not be directly influencing you, you may think that, oh, it's okay to hang around these certain people. In reality, even if you feel like you have enough spiritual strength, or you spend time with God and you're alone time, and yet you still have these friends, they're going to normalize sin, and it's going to make it easier for you to fall into sin because you're desensitized to it. It's like they're doing it with no consequences, then I could do it with no consequence. Versus if you have people that build you up and be people who are convicted about sin, and they're talking about how they're growing closer to God and things like that. If you're not consistently getting built up, then you're going to continue to fall back into the same temptation over and over and over, because you need that fire lit inside of you all the time. A lot of people wonder, like, oh, I don't feel close to God. I don't feel like I'm I'm growing as much. And then they don't even have people to really run to. They don't have people pouring into them. And the word actually says, woe to the one who is alone. And so you need to have someone with you who is building you up. And the more people that you have building you up, the better that you're gonna be. And so that's exactly why I made my program, so that there can be other like-minded believers who are also working on themselves. And because iron sharpens iron and they're pouring into each other each and every day, that's how they're going to actually become free. Not only with the community, but also the one-on-one guidance, where I personally work with you and give you tools so that you are able to overcome temptation and become disciplined. Because it's not just about overcoming temptation, but it's also about becoming a disciplined person, the person that God has called you to be. Also, if you can't join the program right now, put yourself in an environment where you can meet those friends. Start actually working on yourself. Start going to the gym and actually meeting new people. Start going to church and reaching out to different people. Start going to events, Christian events. Because the majority of the people that I hang around now, the Bible study group that I went to, it was because of me working on myself. It was because I went to school and I played basketball. I was in different activities. And so you can't just expect that God is just going to give you friends, if you're not even putting yourself in an environment and actually talking to people so that you can. So yes, after you get done watching this video, make sure you ask yourself, what am I struggling with? And when I struggle with that, where am I majority of the times? And also ask what people around me may be influencing me to give in to this temptation. You can also ask, what shows am I watching? What music am I listening to that may be influencing me to do these things? Because your environment is the biggest open door that you can have that may be causing you to fall into any sin. And most of all, the environment you put yourself in will set you up to the person that you truly want to be. So yes, appreciate y'all for watching. I appreciate all the support. If you want to support, the link is down below. If not, till next time, as usual, y'all stay blessed.